Alright. What's poppin', my dudes? It is 2019, which means new year, new me. But more than likely, new year, same shit. Speaking of shit, we got a new bad video review. Now this time we won't be taking a look at our dear friend Chloe Shotty, because her new music slaps. Instead, we're going to be taking a look at one of the greatest news organizations out there, The Verge. But before we get to that, we got some changes here, This is the first video of 2019. All right, we're in a new location here. We got this lovely green screen. This mediocre lighting, the production quality can only go up from here though. So, stay tuned for that. Anyway, so The Verge released a video. When was that actually? So January 8th, 2019, The Verge released a new video titled, "Why Doctors Are Worried About the Apple Watch EKG." Now, I was browsing through YouTube as I do and came across this. I was like, why are doctors worried? Is it going to kill you? Is it going to electrocute you? I don't know. Let's take a look.
If you own one of the newer Apple Watches, the Series 4, it has this dormant feature that was flipped on last year. This watch can now perform an electrocardiogram test, or EKG. It measures the electrical signals that your heart uses to regulate your heartbeat. The point is to detect signs of atrial fibrillation, which is a form of irregular heartbeat that could cause a stroke or heart failure.
So, okay, let's take a look at that. I mean, that on its own sounds pretty damn cool. Like, you're giving people the device, and they're like, man, I can check I do an EKG on the go whenever I want. I see no problem with this so far. Let's see what's up.
This is actually a big step for Apple. You might think of this watch as a notification machine for fitness buffs who want to obsessively track every single step that they take. But with the EKG, it's trying to become something different. Not just a fitness tracker, but now a health monitor. But that change, it opens up a host of new questions.
Do doctors think it's a good idea? Are people going to use this the right way? Are we just giving people all this information that they don't even understand?
Everything they've listed so far is a non-problem. Giving people information that they aren't going to understand? Are you saying you shouldn't give them the information at all? That's kind of stupid, but okay, all right. And in doctors, okay, yeah, maybe there is a health risk to do this, I don't know the health risk of an EKG, especially if it's coming from a watch, That, maybe that increases your risk of a stroke. Who knows? All right, so let's continue.
EKG process itself is pretty simple. There are two sensors on the watch, one on the back and one on the crown. When you put your finger on the crown, you're completing a circuit from your finger to your heart and back to your wrist. That way, the watch can measure your heart's electrical pulses. After 30 seconds, it'll tell you if the upper and lower chambers of your heart are out of sync. And if they are, it's time to go see a doctor. In my case, I'm seeing a sinus rhythm, and that should mean no AFib, but I'm gonna go see a doctor anyway. We're here at the University of California, San Francisco to get an expert opinion. See, there's already been a little bit of blowback about this new EKG feature. Some critics have argued that it could lead to false positives or become like a self-diagnosis machine.
False positives. Okay. If you get a false positive, you're gonna go to the doctor and then be like, they're gonna check you out and be like, you're good to go. I mean, I could see that'd be annoying, but I don't know.
So we're here to do what we expect a lot of Apple Watch owners are going to do, which is go ask a doctor about their results.
They're expecting a lot of Apple Watch users. A lot. What do you mean? This is only on the newer watches, the Series 4 ones, which only a few people out of the grand owner of Apple Watches are going to buy because they're so goddamn expensive. So just out of that, you've shrunken the pool of people who will use this down to a very minuscule amount. So it's still not a lot.
Dr. Greg Marcus is a specialist in heart arrhythmias at UCSF. First, he and medical assistant Vanessa Mullet hooked me up to a lab-grade EKG. It provides 12 different readings of heart activity instead of just the single snapshot that you get on an Apple Watch.
Okay, so this one is going to give you 12 readings instead of just the one you get from the watch. So it's a more in-depth look. It'll give you a bigger picture. That's important.
It's already going.
You have what's called a sinus arrhythmia.
All right, now keep this in mind. The Apple Watch, this little watch you wear in your hand, gave the doctors the same diagnosis that this hella expensive piece of medical equipment did. So far, we've seen that this thing is pretty accurate so far. Let's keep going.
Which is a sign of good health.
Okay. Dr. Marcus walked us through some of the differences between the Apple Watch EKG and this one. Basically, this thing will give you lots more data to help pinpoint issues that you might suspect based on the watch's readout. It's meant to be a two-step process. The watch flags a possible problem, and the doctor investigates further.
Two steps. Use the watch. Doctor investigates further. Okay.
Right now, Dr. Marcus isn't really sure what to make of it.
We still don't know yet how frequently the Apple Watch by itself will be sufficient versus how often physicians will not feel confident in that reading and feel that some additional monitoring needs to be done.
You should always do additional monitoring. I don't want any, and I mean any, all right, professionals being like, I'm going to take the watch at its word. I think Apple knows what they're doing. No, I always want a second reading. Everyone should want a second reading. You shouldn't be putting your faith in Apple, but okay.
The worrisome thing, the precision of the Apple Watch is only part of the story. In theory, the benefit of the Apple Watch is that it'll catch these lurking heart problems that you would otherwise never know about. But in fact, cardiologists don't recommend using it to screen for heart problems unless you're already at risk.
My name's Seth Landefeld. I'm professor of medicine and chair of the Department of Medicine at University of Alabama.
All right, pause everything. This is the guy we're going to get to. He is the only reason I'm making this video, because
there's no evidence there that the benefits outweigh the harms, and so therefore we recommended against using ECG screening for people at low risk for cardiovascular disease.
He said there's no evidence that the benefits outweigh the harm. What is the harm? We are 4 minutes into this video and no one said anything about the harm of doing a self EKG on your watch.
And for AFib, the condition the Apple Watch screens for, similar situation. There's just not much evidence that EKGs are worth it if you don't already have these other symptoms. But why not just do it anyway, to be safe? Because there's a risk of a false positive. The EKG itself is safe, but in an absolute worst case scenario, there could be a false positive that leads to a treatment that's unnecessary and unsafe.
What the fuck? The only risk they have mentioned is that you could get a false positive. That's with most tests. Most tests, because you have a risk of getting a false positive. So so far, the only bad thing is that it could lead to a false positive. How is that a bad thing? Well, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to tell us why that's a bad thing.
Well, if it led to further tests that somebody said, gee, it looks like you should undergo bypass surgery, and somebody underwent bypass surgery, we know that the average mortality from bypass surgery is 1 or 2%.
When I first heard this, I lost my goddamn marbles. All right. What do you mean? You're not gonna go to the doctor and be like, all right, what seems to be the problem, Mr. Eslinger? Yeah, doctor, I was just curious. My Apple Watch said I had some irregular heartbeat. I was wondering if I could get that checked out.
Oh, shit. Dude, we gotta get you into surgery immediately. Like, yeah, time is of the essence, sir.
Do we need to run some, extra tests to make sure this isn't, a false flag?
No further tests are required. Those Apple Watches are 100% accurate. No need to double check those results there. We gotta go. We gotta go right now. Let's go.
That's not gonna happen. You're gonna run more tests. And if the tests, keep pointing to the same thing, you're gonna go, fix the problem. You're not just gonna take their word for it. That is the stupidest line of argument I've ever heard.
The individuals that tend to purchase these Apple Watches may be those who are already health conscious, tend to be fit, tend to probably be quite healthy.
Right.
Whereas the people that really probably have the most to benefit from atrial fibrillation screening will tend to be the older individuals who may be less tech savvy, those who aren't as concerned about their health.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. The overlapping, Venn diagram of people who are gonna buy Apple Watches and their health and people, it's going to be a small amount. But there's no risk to using it. This whole entire video is on you could get a false positive. You could get a lot of false positives doing anything. Why is this a big deal? Why is The Verge sending a team out here and making this big production on the basis of it's cool tech and it can be helpful, but we recommend not using it because it couldn't, it doesn't always give you the right results. That's just stupid. So the only argument that I can give the slightest bit of credit to is that it could add strain to our healthcare system. It could tie up doctors for them going to get tests. Sure, that's a fair point, and I guess we'll have to wait to see if that's the case. But I'm not so sure that that's a pressing issue at the moment. It's so dumb. I mean, are we really going to start taking advice from The Verge? The same people who made this monstrosity about how to build a PC?
So we're about to apply thermal paste to the CPU. Every CPU cooler actually comes with a bit of thermal paste already neatly applied in a circle around it, but it's usually not enough. It's good, essentially PC building practice to have a little bit extra and layer it on top of the CPU. The final portion is to add the CPU cooler to the top end of the processor. So you're gonna see that there are 4 brackets, or rather like screws in here with brackets and holders right here. And they're going to keep the cooler.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm no saint when it comes to thermal paste, but that guy was paid to make that video.
So all you have to do is take the brick and make sure that you align it with these little insulating pads so that the power supply doesn't short circuit and come into contact with the rest of the system. So just take it in, slide it in nice and easy until you have a snug fit, and then shift it to the back and make sure it's right up against the frame.
And he had no idea what he was doing.
The Apple Watch is new, but over time, false flags could add strain to our entire healthcare system. It's a classic case of data overload.
Classic case of data overload. Classic case of data overload. This is cool tech, all right? Apple doesn't do a whole lot of innovative things right now. This is something that's kind of cool, It's your watch has an EKG in it. Is it useful? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe no one will use this feature at all, all right? But this is just another case of companies, these news companies online trying to get clicks because they're losing relevancy right now. I'm not trying to spin this into a big fucking serious topic here, but it's stupid, all right? They just wanted to pick a fight with Apple. Like it's a cool feature. Just cover the cool feature. Hey, did you know your Apple Watch can do this? You get the same amount of clicks. This is just a waste of time, waste of space. Like most of the Verges, I've yet to see a good Verge article. But anyway, point is, it's pretty stupid. Yeah, that's about that, I saw this and I just kind of wanted to, to point it out, laugh at it a little bit. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this stupidity. Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to go off of. Hoping to make a couple more videos within the year. Maybe one more. I'm going to get 2 videos in 2019. Maybe. We'll see. The nice is this green screen. I don't know what I'm going to use it for yet. I had the green screen. I just need the stand for it. I don't know. It's just kind of hard to find motivation. YouTube has just gone down the shitter recently. YouTube banning channels. You got them stripping demonetization away. It's just a clown fiesta that I don't want to deal with. It's just kind of stupid, which is really sad because YouTube used to be a place for creativity and really cool shit to happen. But now it's trying to become more like TV. Chris Ray Gun's new video about the Wild West, I think, really hits the nail on the head for me. I think, yeah, that's what I've been feeling about. So it's kind of hard to get motivation to make YouTube videos. I mean, I'm still gonna do it because it's fun. Nothing like a nice shit post, to lighten your day up. But I don't know. That's that. Red Bull sponsor me.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me. Buying the sharpest doing the shed. She was looking kind of dumb with her finger on her thumb in the shed.